Welcome to our Prosperous Living Summit, the launch of our Prosperous Living magazine in our PWT Wellness Group. I cannot think of wellness and prosperity without Dortha. The other way, this way, that way. Okay,
Over here.
over here. So here's the thing. Overwhelm and burnout is a crisis, is a mental health and physical crisis that we are witnessing all around us. However, there's a huge resistance to delegate and to automate. And I think I know why. And I know we have the solution or the answer to that question today. So we welcome Dortha Hise, Chief Overwhelm Officer with Summit to Your Success and a PWT Wellness and Success Mentor Expert. And welcome, Dortha.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Thank you. We often think, you know, if you want to get it done, do it yourself.
So
How
true.
many of us have been taught that, right? And as a go-getter, sometimes it is faster to just do it yourself. But the cumulative effect of not delegating is it gets to the crisis point. It gets to the boiling point. However, technology now has changed that. So tell us how you've created this fusion of delegation and automation linked together.
Yeah. Well, I think embracing it is the first step, right? We want to, as you mentioned, we want to resist it, and we want to. Oh, if I don't do it, then it's not going to be done quite right. Or if I don't have my hands in it, then it doesn't look like I did it, and it has a little bit of a different voice. So there's some trepidation and some concern about relinquishing control, I think would probably be how I would best describe that. And the way that I have really been embracing the fusion of both is, using a ChatGPT or a Perplexity or something like that, and using it as my assistant, and having that be my starting point, and then also showing that to clients so that they're not scared when I come back and have a conversation to say, "Hey, look, this is what AI can do for this particular project," and then the client and I can take it and run with what AI has outlined for us. So it makes our job so much easier, like just paring down the tasks.
And I think automation has taken delegation to a whole new level because
Yeah.
before it was like, okay, who do I delegate to? How do I know they're doing the job right? Do I need to keep monitoring? I'm not big for managing people, right? Like I believe we're all competent grown-ups. And so micromanaging is not my cup of tea. But I know a lot of people, and that's one of the reasons why you're hesitant to delegate, right? Because
Yeah.
now, yes, you've given away some things, but now you've taken on managing this person, right?
Yeah.
But with automation, you're having like a genius of a genius as your assistant, right? You can trust that once it's set in motion, it's going to do what you tell it to do,
Mhm.
right? Granted, it's got to be set up properly. And that's where you come in.
Yep. Yeah. Set up properly, and then also with those appropriate prompts and making sure, and I think that's part of what you're talking about with proper setup, is making sure, what is that? And that garbage in, garbage out, right? You want to make sure that you're
I
giving
know.
it yes, you want to give it good stuff to in so that it gives you good stuff back. And I think, actually, I'm working with somebody utilizing their book, and they have a paid account, so they don't have the training the AI model. So that's something that other people are. I've heard, oh, like I'm afraid my content's going to be used to shape the learning model, and yeah, it probably is because it's out there on the internet anyway. So it's kind of one of those things.
Once you put it out there, anybody
Yeah.
can use it for whatever
So
purpose.
true, whether
Anyway,
they give you credit or not.
it's
But we're using her book, and we're training her model, her AI, so that it gives us content to write a nurture sequence for her emails. And she thought it was going to be impossible. And I actually was able to use the book and a landing page that we wanted to guide people to. And it created a 5 email nurture sequence that sounds exactly like her voice. And it gives all of the objections that she talks about in her book and all of the things in this, benefits of the program. And it meshed it together so nicely that she was like, whoa, and I haven't even edited anything yet. We're just starting out and it's already really great content.
Yeah, and you know what? It's surprising how many people have a technology bias.
Yeah, it's true.
And I there's no right or wrong answer, but I know, in speaking to people, right? Like I had someone come and say that was written by, Chat GPT. I can tell. It's like,
Yeah.
so what?
Yeah.
It's
I
still
mean,
depending on the quality of the prompt
it's
and
true.
what is wrong with using technology. I drive, I don't walk everywhere. You know what I mean? That is technology. I
That's
don't write
true.
letters anymore. I send emails. I don't,
Yeah. I
you know
use
what
my
I mean? I
smartphone.
don't send trained pigeons to deliver a message. I just call. Well, you don't even call anyone. You just text.
That's
But the
right.
point is, right? To what degree do you really think you're better than the technology out there? And the main thing, and I really want you to talk about the competitiveness of it, because speed is of the essence. Emails that go unanswered or not having a proper sequence to,
Yeah.
or someone reaches out and there's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gets acknowledged and there may be a little bit of feedback that goes back. And, it is incredible what can be done relatively easy
Mm-hmm.
now with technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you can set up just a basic generic autoresponder that says, "Hey, thanks for your email." And then give some options in that email. So, hey, if you're a client, you need to book a call, click here. If you are interested in becoming a client, click here, right? And you can have some of the things already set up in the back end with just a generic autoresponder email.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can have those things set up with triggers depending on how you have those links integrated with your other systems, your CRM, your email marketing tools, all of those kinds of things. And then life becomes a lot easier because now you're not missing calls, you're not missing things with clients. And that carries over to home life as well. And Carolina, you know how I feel about having that balance at home so that your loved ones, your kids, your whomever isn't feeling left out and they aren't missing out on time with you and you're not missing out on time with them. And then you have this thing called balance in your life where you're not constantly tethered to your device or your laptop or whatever.
And you know what? It addresses, because we're all have global brands, whether we like it
Yeah.
or not. The minute you're using social media, I'm always humbled when we put any content out and I get, cheers from Thailand or from Singapore. It's like, oh my God, right? You just forget,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
everybody's in your backyard, right?
Right.
And the thing is, it's like you're dealing with different time zones. You're dealing with, different synchronicity when people want to view your content, right? And you got to be able to be flexible and offer that. But one thing I wanted to talk about is how everyone is up in the game. So let's take, and this is not a paid sponsorship, but we think we know what a certain platform or app does based on its origin. Some people still think, LinkedIn's about your resume and getting jobs, right? It could not be farther from that now.
Right.
Same with apps like SaaS type of applications like JobForm,
Yeah.
for example. It
Yep.
is incredible what you can do with it now.
They are
And
killing
you
it.
taught me so, like, things that I did, like, are you serious? Like, how did you do that? Oh, jot form. And it's like 9.99 a month. Like, it is crazy, the system that
Yeah.
you can build for a couple of $100 a month, and the quality of customer service and client care that you can provide.
Yeah. Yeah. I just recently, a client has a very cumbersome CRM and she said, well, how can we get this agreement out? And I said, have you heard of JotForm? And she said, no. And I said, let me hook you up with a free account that will give you you can send a few contracts that way, see how you like it. And now she's hooked and she's like, this is amazing because, we can create the document in Word, upload it, and then the rest is easy peasy. And you can set some of the automations and workflows in the back end of that. And it's not anything like you were talking about the SaaS type things. I like to help my clients utilize tools that don't require extra coding or extra, you don't have to bring on a developer to be able to use them. I like to use off the shelf products
That's
and
right.
utilize them like maximally, is that a word? Maximally? Yeah. It sounds weird in
Maximally.
my head.
We do
Maximize the
automation, not
efficiency.
English literacy.
That's right. That's right.
Funny.
To make you the most efficient that you can be. And that's where tools like Jotform and Canva and Trello, those kinds of tools are quietly, maybe not so quietly, really bringing in a lot of AI features, and they're crushing it. They're really just sneaking
That's
up
right.
in businesses like, Microsoft that people think of, or, Google or Chat, OpenAI, or all of those tools. They're the ones that are getting the recognition, but these other companies are quietly,
They're upping their game,
making,
because it's a competitive, like,
yep,
if,
there's that
that's
competitiveness.
the competition, right? Leveraging
Yeah,
technology to keep up. This is
yeah,
not even to be at the forefront. This is to keep up.
that's
And,
right.
again, apps keep. Like, I'm a big LinkedIn, fanatic,
Yeah,
and I just discovered that, on your LinkedIn page, your business page, you can actually schedule posts ahead of time,
yeah,
which is a new feature, right? So
yeah,
is any knowing what new apps can do. So having a partner like you, you are not your everyday woman in tech.
in tech.
Um, is also knowing what not to use anymore, because there's some
Yep,
paid applications that
yep,
their price kept going up and the price kept going up. Meanwhile, they're pricing themselves out of the market. I had a situation with one of our apps that, I was using because it was a nominal, $45 a month. It kind of did the job. It wasn't key to my business, but, when I used it, excuse me, it was nice to have. Well, they just upped their price to almost like $250 a month from
mhm,
49. Guess
yep,
what? They priced themselves out of the market because there's
yep,
so many new apps that can do what it can better. And
yeah,
one of them are you mentioned some of the Microsoft, the traditional apps that we think we know and love. Like, right now, oh my goodness, Adobe, they have expanded their ability to sign, when you said
big
forms,
time, mhm,
and it's like one price covers as many transactions as you like, opposite to other apps that charge you,
yeah,
right, for the
yep,
same thing. So having a partner like you is it is more than just, okay, I'll connect you, I'll set your systems up, right? But it's in teaching you how to monitor, because that's another big problem. Okay, so once you remove your technology bias and once you manage, because even massive teams are now getting smaller and smaller and smaller. There was a
yeah,
recent acquisition by a big company of a small startup that was only 15 people. And it was like in the millions and billions, purchase. But
right,
because everyone's leveraging technology, your team and yourself, like look at our magazine. You know what I mean? When we
yeah,
started, it
right,
was like, oh my God, such a big production. Where now it's like, okay, yeah, good done.
yeah, yeah,
But all of it cannot be delegation by abdication. That being
right,
said, right? You
yeah,
still need to have someone manage it, monitor it, make
yep.
sure all the links are working. What do you find when people think that, oh, we spoke of Geico, but when people think that, oh, technology will do it all?
Well, I mean, I think you and I, Caroline, have had this conversation where the critical thinking skills of humans are going to be what keeps us at the forefront of the technology that we're, leveraging and maximizing. And I think um, just always having that human element to things. I get a lot of emails that I can tell are robot generated or whatever, and it's fine. But there comes a time when you need to be able to step in as the human and say, hey, look, Like, I'm going to push pause on this and I'm going to step in as me, the human, and say, hey, look, we messed up on this, or hey, look, there's the right link, or the whatever it is, right? And taking that ownership and just showing the vulnerability and the humanity, I think, are some critical ways that we can show up in the space of not letting the robots take over, not letting not letting technology, run wild and on its own, and whatever else it is that a lot of people, the Terminator movie or whatever that people think might happen. um,
Technology is not going to come get your job. It is a person
it's
that
really not.
understands and
Mhm.
uses technology that will.
That's right. Yep, for sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
for sure, for sure. Now, let's talk about overwhelm and burnout, right? Because that is the even if you're trying to do it all yourself, even if you're using, automation, there's so many apps, there's just so much. And
Mhm.
create content for visibility in client care, right? It's like a black hole. I mean, just you keep feeding it and feeding it and feeding it to there's no end to it, right?
Yep.
What are some strategies that you help client with when it comes to not feeling overwhelmed, not feeling burnout by the constant need to not only be a fabulous, practitioner, but you also have to create this massive body of work to stay relevant in the global discourse.
Well, I think it's a great question, and it's something that's different for everybody. But generally speaking, there's a balance, and I think finding what works for you, where you're maybe a little bit stretched, but not so uncomfortably stretched that you're in some awkward position and you're like trying to hold this weird pose and trying to stay there. Um, Meaning that you're willing to stretch and be uncomfortable a little bit, and creating. Maybe it's, setting time like an hour or two a week. Maybe it's 3 to 5. It really depends on the amount of content that you're creating and what content you are creating. So, for example, if you're doing social media posts, that might be a lighter lift than, say, writing email nurture sequences, or creating a launch strategy and then all the back end things behind that. Although that said, this morning I was on a call with a collaboration partner, and she and I, knocked out our emails that, promo emails, and social media posts and some teaser videos that we're going to do together in a like 20-minute call. And then we were talking about making a joke of like, oh, we've got to give chat a rest because, it's just like we are, right? Like if we give it too much, the processing power, it starts to, you can kind of see the content gets a little watery. If you give it a little break and come back in a bit, it comes back refreshed as well. So it's just like we are, like they need a break just like we do. And it's really kind of finding that balance. But I think, somewhere between the 1 and 5 hours is a good, and I'm not saying sit down at 1 and 5 hours and do it, but like over a week,
Over a week.
find that 1 to 5 hours that you need to create content for yourself. And then having that bandwidth of either finding a place to get good prompts or coming up with really detailed, good asking prompts. Good asking prompts. That's a really another great use of my
Yeah,
English. Yeah.
it has to be our takeaway is that you don't ChatGPT is also like the quality of your assistant,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yep.
don't underestimate what it knows.
That's
Like,
right.
and I know it sounds silly when we're speaking of, underestimating ChatGPT, but when you go in and you're telling it everything to do, you're still limiting by your knowledge, right? You don't
Yep.
know what you don't know.
That's right.
So to be able to fluently work with generative, AI, right? That have
Mhm.
a conversation
Yep.
and I know it seems odd, but it's like, what do you need to know to do these?
That's right. That's
Right?
one of my
Because
favorite
it
questions.
may ask you things that you just had not thought about. And
That's
even with
right.
an assistant, right? Like we often have interns or like junior people, they don't know, like they're relying on your knowledge and direction, right?
Yeah.
Especially for certain professions like law or medicine, or like that nuances, right, that you
Mhm.
cannot say, you can or cannot claim, right?
Yep.
That is, it really is best done yourself with the aid of technology. So how does
Yeah.
someone begin working with you to find out 5 whys, right? Like what technology is the best for me? How to best automate? What can I expect from it? Where do I begin? That
Yeah.
jazz.
Yeah, great question. I am always happy to have a conversation. I have a Calendly link. You can jump on a call with me. We can explore what you're currently using, what's working, what isn't working. I also may be able to point out, I generally like to say that I can point out ways that you might be able to utilize something better, or make suggestions for tools that could be serving you better based on what you want to do in your business and where you want to go. I think I also included a free ebook that
Nice.
might be included with the
Even a magazine,
yeah,
but we can
yeah.
certainly add the link to
Yeah. I think
yeah.
it's somewhere. But yeah, if you get in touch with me, I'd be happy to share that with you as well. It has some questions to ask around getting starting delegating, and then also tools to build into the back end of your business to begin the automation process. So just taking slow steps, knowing that it doesn't have to be all done in a day. Like, what is it? Rome wasn't built in a day, and building all the automated systems in your business doesn't have to be either. It can
It's done
be
in a day.
little. That's right. Oh, day and a half. There you go. That's right. Maybe two.
But one thing I do want to make sure we come back to it, because you're also dealing with like the mental health side
Yep.
of delegation and automation.
Yep.
So I want to speak about dark technology with you and the impact on mindset and the impact on our wellness, right? And in our success. So, where to what degree can you delegate? Right? Like,
Yeah.
having ChatGPT as your therapist, not a good idea. Having
Yeah.
like in that is, that's where we really need to use our critical thinking.
Yep.
Know what is technology used for, and how it's best applied. So
Yeah,
thank
for
you so
sure.
much, Dortha. We look
Mhm.
forward. You can check Dortha's articles, Powerful Women Today magazine, and also on the Prosperous Living magazine as well. And she's one of our PWT Wellness and Success Mentor experts. We'll put all her contact information down below. Thank
Thank
you. Till next time.